Well, it's time for a little acoustic blues. I'm sitting in my yard on Maui and just thinking, wow, I feel like I want to play something in the key of A and then kind of share some licks that I use. Sometimes I call this blues you can use, but in this case, I'm in the key of A, and it's a fun key because you got that open A string working, right? So you can get that sort of shuffle if you want to go for that kind of vibe. Now in this case, I'm working mainly off the A string, the D string, and the G string. I'm really focusing on those. And sometimes we call that a partial or whatever. Some people call it a double stop, although in this case it's 3 notes. But what's cool about it is you don't have to really worry too much about the high strings or even the super low strings. You can just... So I'm just working off that A string with my second finger on the 3rd fret and then third finger on the 4th fret. Kind of a country blues kind of rockabilly thing, but it's effective because in this case, you know, you got that open A which really rings out, you know, and in this case I'm just pinching. You do it with a pick any way you want. I think it's important to target those 3 strings. And this is something that's really, for me, has been super helpful. Understanding that when we play acoustic guitar, or especially electric, honestly, you know, you don't have to hit all the strings all the time, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And the truth of the matter is, especially on electric, but acoustic too, if we're constantly hitting all the strings all the time, it tends to kind of muddy up the music a lot. And some people think, oh God, I gotta make it full and nice. Well, the truth is, no, that's not, you don't have to do that. Because especially if you've got other people playing with you, as I heard a saying the other day, play it simply so that others may simply play. And I thought that was well said. So in the case of this little acoustic lesson I'm doing in the key of A, I think that applies here. Okay, so it's just something to be thinking about, because, you know, if you're wanting to comp behind somebody, do something that really works, a lot of times it's going to involve maybe just 2 strings, or maybe even 1 string. You know, if I'm playing in the key of A and there's a couple guitar players, I might just want to go, you know, which is nothing more than the 6th fret on the G string, 2nd finger, and the 5th fret on the high E. But just those 2, right? You can just let that ring out. So I got my 1st finger on the 5th fret of the high E. I'm only hitting 2 strings. But you know, when you're playing in, you know, it's a cool, just let it ring out. So now the second part of that lick is I'm going to the 3rd fret, 1, 2, 3, the 4th fret of the D string, and then the 5th fret. Same finger, 3rd finger. So totally it goes like this. So the last part is. So here's the lick. So you go back to that E note. Now, none of that's written in stone. That's just me doing it the way I'm doing it right now, okay? So no worries there. But in slow motion, it would be like... There's really no need to go into any more chords right there. I mean, generally, if I'm doing a blues, I could go to a D7, if it was a folk blues, or a D9. That was more of a, you know, different kind of blues, you know, more of a Chicago blues or whatever. So that just depends on what style you're playing. But what's more important, I think, at this point is to remember that when we're playing whether it's with a couple guitar players or it might be, might be in a band situation, depending on what your jam is. I think as a musician, it's really important. I know for me, it has been, to understand that you don't want to like muddy the music up too much, okay? And even if you're playing like a big rock song, if someone's playing, like a big rock rhythm, well, the last thing you want to do is double that. I mean, if you've already got somebody hitting that, so you'd probably want to do something, or whatever, something that complements what's being done in the low end. And often what that looks like is either nothing. So when in doubt, lay out. It's okay to not play. If you're playing with an ensemble situation, whether it's around a campfire or in an electric band, what separates the pros from the non-pros is knowing when to leave space, when to let whoever's leading the charge do what they do. Because if you're constantly playing, there's never any sonic relief, and that doesn't really work well. If you think about an orchestra, not everybody plays all the time, right? The violins have a part, they wait, then they play, or the triangle goes ding, and then out, 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 out. Now, most people I've noticed, they're very uncomfortable not playing. They want to be playing all the time in a situation. And that is a sign of a green beginner, because they're just nervous and they want to like fill it up. But the truth is, if you pick the right note, and just let it ring, it's going to be way more effective than overcomping or overcompensating for what's going on with someone who's already got the bottom, led the charge and has a rhythm going, a strong rhythm. They don't need a sort of a unison part. What they need is, what the song needs often, is just something that rings out over it. And generally it would be in a different, a different sonic value, whether it's, something like that. We're still in the key of A, right? That's just an A7. It depends too on the mood, There's lots of ways to do that, but the value there is the double stop, or in this case, three notes. I'm just basically on the 9th fret, right? Yeah. Just go D7th move, right? Like, you just, a D7th here. You know what that looks like. Just move it all the way up to the 9th fret. And you got an A7th. That's kind of effective. You can flatten it. Kind of salty. Yeah, so that's just a few words and a few little licks that tell the story in the key of A. Kind of a Jimmy Reed thing. And it's any way you want to do it. You don't have to stick to that pattern of notes at all. You can. So if you like that kind of stuff and you're into acoustic blues or electric blues, I got a ton of it on my site at jimmydillon.com. So come and hit me up, come and visit us, and see if there's anything you like. A lot of it's free, and you can just check it out and see what floats your boat. And then if you like something, I've got various different courses, acoustic, electric, eclectic electric. A lot of different subjects get covered at my home site. So I hope you enjoyed that little lesson, and greetings from Maui, aloha, and we'll see you down the road.